President Trump today announced he's hitting the nation of Colombia with emergency tariffs after that country turned away two U.S. flights of undocumented migrants. Colombia has now hit back with 25% tariffs on U.S. products.
Some interesting things going on between Colombia and the United States. I think you're going to find that this turns out to be the strongest possible outcome for Colombia and the United States. I think we'll be the strongest of allies very soon. Watch the drama as it unfolds. Here's a setup of what's happening.
It was not long after that Colombia's president intervened and blocked these two planes that we saw Trump post a message on Truth Social outlining his plans for retribution. And he criticized the president and said that the denial of these flights has, quote, jeopardized the national security and public safety of the United States. And so he put through a litany of new punishments for Colombia, including a 25% tariff that he says could go up to 50% next week. And as you said, Colombia now responding with tariffs of their own. And clearly, Trump's administration was prepared for a country in South America or Central America to potentially reject some of these planes and have a plan in place for what they would do in response.
So he uses words like retribution and punishment. But the thing is, we're basically saying, listen, we've got some illegal aliens that came in. We're going to return them to you, meaning the United States is going to return them to Colombia. And your job is to take them back. Of course, he's put into the play at this point that we're going to use tariffs as a leveraging tool, as any of us as negotiators will. CNN, a little bit biased to say the least, but I am going to give them another opportunity to better set it up with Cordova talking about it, and then we're going to let Jennings jump in after that.
This is what Trump promised he was going to do. He was going to deport migrants and anyone who didn't, take them back to their original country, that he was going to punish them, and he is doing that with these 25% tariff.
To me, what that demonstrates is that the only way that Donald Trump knows how to, quote, lead is by acting like a bully. I mean, under the Biden administration, Colombia accepted more than 475 flights.
By the way, that Cessna, that was one of the 475 flights, and these are the migrants that have gone through and are coming through into our border.
Of deported Colombian migrants.
Now, obviously, I took a little bit of liberties with the Cessna that was flying in, but the bottom line is, yeah, they did send some people back. She's going to come up with excuses. Cordova's going to come up with excuses all she can. She is a screaming liberal, and they refuse to look at what is really happening here. And that is, if you go against what we're trying to do, what Donald Trump is trying to do, you're going to be positioned with this. This is the F around and find out quadrant. It's been used by many scientists to explain theories and how things work, but if you F around with the United States, you're going to find out. Now, here's the part that they don't say out loud. I don't know about y'all, but every time I've had a disagreement, an argument, a confrontation of some type or another, and we've come to resolution, the fact that it has been resolved strengthened my relationship with the person I was in confrontation with. What I'm saying is, I believe Colombia will be our strongest ally in the world soon. All right, it's time for a reply from the conservative side on CNN. Before Mr. Jennings jumps in, listen, if you're like me, you're sitting on the couch, you're watching this on TV, use your phone, scan this QR code, and please consider subscribing because it tells YouTube that we're providing something of value. It also tells me, and I am truly grateful for it, or just hit the subscribe button if you want more information like this. Thank you for allowing this public service announcement. Now back to the show.
The reason Donald Trump had to resort to these tariffs and sanctions and punishments today is because the president of Colombia refused to accept a flight of migrants. He said he wouldn't take them. Donald Trump said, we're going to enter the F around and find out portion of this conversation. And he hit him with sanctions and tariffs. And now tonight, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, says Congress is going to back him up on that. He's putting Colombia, he's putting the rest of this hemisphere on notice that you are not dealing with the same president that you were. You're dealing with someone who is taking illegal immigration seriously. Now, within an hour of making that threat, the president of Colombia said, whoa, I'll send my own plane to pick these people up. So obviously, he got their attention. I don't think there's actually going to be any tariff war between the United States and Colombia, because as long as they come get their people, I doubt Donald Trump's going to end up tariffing them, and they won't tariff us. And they'll have learned a valuable lesson that Donald Trump is taking immigration, illegal immigration, seriously. This is real leadership, but it sends a message to everybody else in the hemisphere. Do not test us. This is not Biden and Harris. This is Trump and Vance. We mean business.
Now, I don't know about you, but Cordova was sitting there. She's shaking her head. You may actually want to replay that. It's just so funny to watch her. She's obviously distraught. So we're going to break down the timeline for you. I've got some things that'll help with that, make it really clear of exactly what happened Here's the thing. We're establishing some boundaries that now Colombia has fallen in line with. Again, I believe they're going to be our strongest allies. Some of my best friends are Colombian. I am a raving fan of Colombia. This was simply a matter of we're going to send back the people that Biden illegally let into the country. Let's take a look at the timeline. Trump sends illegals back to Colombia. Number 2, Colombia refuses flights. 3, Trump levels them with tariffs. 4, Colombia sends their presidential plane to come pick up these same migrants. Number 5, everybody suddenly realizes the Democrats could have fixed this at any time and intentionally did not. So I'll give you a little background on the timeline. This is a truth post from President Trump. I was just informed that 2 repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals were not allowed to land in Colombia. This order was given by Colombia's socialist president, Gustavo Petro, who was already very unpopular amongst his people. Okay, that's just Trump trolling. You know how he works. Bottom line is 25% emergency tariffs, a travel ban immediately, visa revocations on Colombia government officials, visa sanctions on all party member, enhanced customs and border protection. This happened at 1:30 yesterday. At 2:43 yesterday, Colombian President Petro says he's now sending the Colombian presidential plane to pick up his deportees from the U.S. after President Trump said he'd issue sanctions. Now, to be fair, Colombia came back and said, well, we're going to put sanctions as well. And then you've got AOC, who I'm not going to bore you with, don't want to make you look at. She's saying the same thing, saying, well, oh my God, these sanctions are they're going to cost so much money. They're going to make money for the billions of people or for all the billionaires that are Trump's boys. And bottom line is sanctions are a leveraging tool in negotiating. And I don't know about y'all, but I want somebody like President Trump negotiating for me. And as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Colombia becomes our strongest ally and thereby becomes the strongest country, besides perhaps Argentina, because of phenomenal leadership. And it is going to further enhance Colombia's stature in the world economic market. Period. Yes, AOC, that would have actually cost a little more for coffee. And oh my God, the flowers at Valentine's Day might have cost a little more, but there's other places to get it. The bottom line is it's a leveraging tool, and Trump did it masterfully. I also have some phenomenal friends I met in the British Virgin Islands, so I've become a huge raving fan of the Brits. And here's a post from somebody from the UK. What Trump has done with Colombia, we must do here in the UK. It must be done. It can be done. We must stand up for Britain like Trump is doing for the US and not be a pushover. I put that there because of all the people I love in the UK. You are a phenomenal group, as are the Colombians. Together, this will be a better world. We have to work in unison. Trump is not trying to push you around. He's trying to improve the world. And by America improving, it will improve everybody else, including the UK, including Colombia. So I got to put this out there because I think this is funny. President Petro, please accept my apologies for any disrespect. But that's kind of what happens when you go up against Trump and he says, I'm going to impart sanctions. And all of a sudden, yikes, it becomes a reality. Thanks so much for your time. We look forward to seeing you on the next video. In fact, this next video that's about to play is something you may want to watch. This is a synopsis of stupidity. God bless you. God bless America. God bless this world.